Auntie Claus and the Key to Christmas by Elise Primavera. Darlings, the story that you're about to be told is absolutely true. It happened one Christmas when my nephew Christopher began to have doubts, shall we say. The entire family was in a frightful uproar and very cross. Well, we couldn't have that. Heavens, no. So it was up to me to intervene. Now hang up your stockings, darlings, and turn this page, for here is where you will find my key to Christmas. Young Christopher Kringle lived at the Bing Cherry Hotel in New York City with his parents, the Kringles, and his sister Sophie. Chris loved going to the Jingle Bell Company where his father was the president. He spent many hours at the Mistletoe to Nail Salon, which his mother owned. But most of all, Chris loved listening to his great aunt, Auntie Claus, tell stories about the Kringle family, the North Pole, and Santa. "Dear boy," she would always say, "when things seem dark and dreary, if times turn sour and bitter, think like a Kringle. You'll soon find your way to all that sparkles and glitters." But Chris wasn't so sure, not anymore, for he had begun to wonder about his great aunt. In fact, Chris had begun to wonder about his entire family. Then one day, he overheard a pair of out-of-towners, the Spam twins, who were staying at the Bing while they were on tour promoting their book, We're Geniuses, and You're Not. Chris soon learned that Ozzie and Pam were commonly known as the Smarty Pants Spams, and they had become international sensations. So, how could he ignore something that they had said? "Hey, Pam," Ozzie snickered. "It's a week after Halloween, and that lady in the Christmas outfit is still in her costume," snickered Pam. "You'd think she was Santa Claus's sister," Ozzie snorted. "Yeah, only babies believe in Santa Claus," they chortled. And so it was the exactly 1 week after Halloween. Chris repeated what he heard, and the entire Kringle family was thrown into a tumultuous uproar. Mrs. Kringle screamed and dropped a whole bottle of mistletoe nail polish on the carpet. Mr. Kringle, who was in the process of stringing jingle bells, lost his balance and careened right into the middle of his favorite Christmas tree. "And you call yourself a Kringle? Shame on you," said Chris's older sister, Sophie. To no one's surprise, Chris was immediately summoned to Auntie Claus's suite at the Bing, to Penthouse 25C, for tea. "It has come to my attention," Auntie Claus began, "that there is a nasty rumor going around that some children are saying, well, it's unspeakable, preposterous, it's completely unacceptable. Marmalade cake, darling." Chris squirmed in his seat. "I have never known a Kringle to repeat such things." Auntie Claus paused to stir her tea. "It is time you learned a little family secret. But first, there is something you should know about children who spread such rumors." The room suddenly became very quiet. Dark clouds began to pile up outside. "The truth of the matter is that these children eventually become rather unattractive grown-ups. Try some lovely cookies, darling." "Unattractive?" asked Chris. "Yes," said Auntie Claus. "These children become grown-ups who enjoy seeing birthday cakes slip off the edge of a table and go splat onto the floor. To them, having it rain on the day of a parade is like eating a chocolate eclair to you. And they have formed a club. A club? Said Chris. Yes, darling, a club, said Auntie Claus. It's called the Parade Rainers United National Elite Society, or Prunes for short. Heavens, Auntie Claus continued, that you, of all people, would say such a thing. Why, I should think it would rather hurt Santa's feelings. Do you know Santa? Chris asked. Why, of course I know him. The very idea, Auntie Claus said. Sophie rolled her eyes. Chris is going to be on the BB&G list again. BB&G list? Said Chris. Auntie Claus sighed. Oh, BB&G, darling, is short for bad boys and girls. Anyone on Santa's BB&G list goes without presents for Christmas. So unfortunate. But Chris was not convinced. I'll believe it when I see it, he said. That's my motto. Oh, dear boy, don't you know that all the best things are invisible? Auntie Claus said. Sometimes you have to believe in order to see. That is my motto. That is the key. At midnight, Auntie Claus left for her annual business trip. And at midnight, Chris was wide awake. Is there really a BB&G list, he thought? I get presents every year, and to be honest, I'm really not all that good. Well, there's only one way to find out. Chris had made up his mind. If there really is a BB&G list, my name is gonna be on it, he said. And maybe then I will get to the bottom of this family secret once and for all. The very next day, Chris eliminated please and thank you from his vocabulary. He made rude noises and he ate with his mouth open. He whined whenever it looked like someone had something better than he did, and he regularly squashed his vegetables in his dinner napkin. And for good measure, he started cheating at board games and screaming if he didn't get his own way. By Christmas Eve, Chris was pretty sure he had covered everything, but he still had some doubts. There is no such thing as a BB&G list, he said. There is too, said Sophie. I'll believe it when I see it, Chris said. What if I told you that I got your name off that list last year because I'm such a nice sister, Sophie said. You are not, said Chris. Am too, said Sophie. And that's not all. Auntie Claus is Santa Claus's older sister. She is not, insisted Chris. Is, shouted Sophie. Prove it, demanded Chris. I will, said Sophie, but you'll have to go on a little trip. Fine, said Chris. Sophie grabbed her brother's hand and she led him up to Auntie Claus's penthouse. Shh, Sophie said as they tiptoed through the dimly lit apartment to Auntie Claus's private elevator. From inside her jumper, she removed a red ribbon necklace, at the end of which was a diamond key. Look, she whispered. The key glittered in her hand. If you don't believe me, she said, inserting the key into the lock on the elevator, then ask Mr. Pudding. The elevator door slid open. I will, Chris said, stepping inside. Who's Mr. Pudding? The door began to close. Just say you're the new elf. Don't forget, Sophie said. Suddenly the key sparkled and flashed, illuminating the darkness, and flew from her hand into Chris's just before the door shut. "What?" said Chris.